Welcome back, guys, to desRow Legacy of the Void Weekly number 1. This is our second match of the day. In the bottom right of Coda LE from Flipside Tactics, we have Naro. In the left side, after winning with carriers convincingly from Team EG, we have Huck. And so, yeah, basically, Huck showed us that carriers are viable, that they're hard to use, that it's not always easy to be living on the edge, but that they're definitely viable. And so, will Gar mix it up? Gar only one gas opening so far, and will Huck scout this game? Both players didn't really scout last game, so I mean they eventually ended up scouting with like a Reaper and a Phoenix, but nothing outside of that. And Huck going for the one gas opening, different approach than what I've been doing on the ladder. Not that I'm I'm the ultimate reference, but it's like one of the biggest things, one of the biggest motivations for me to do my own tournament is to get a chance at seeing what other Protosses are actually doing. And so now with the beta, it's even better than before that I really get to see how it goes and what they actually do. So Huck with the second gas after the Nexus, Mothership Core first, and Naro is going to go for the factory. A really quick factory before... It still makes a Reaper. Keep that in mind. Still makes a Reaper. Nexus halfway done, and the snow... I really thought it was going to be a Stargate, but we see a second gate here out of Huck sitting on... 100 gas. Sitting on 100 gas. Gonna make a Stalker. Will we see a Stargate for the Cyclone? And the Tech Lab's about to finish for Naro. So we see the Cyclone. Mobile assault drone can use lock-on to quickly fire while moving. Also, someone earlier was asking me, can you talk a little bit more about the maps? We're playing on Coda. Coda is a very small map. It's a map designed for Heart of the Swarm. There's 4 bases that are like on your side, and then you battle for the 2 or the 4 middle bases after that. So it's a total of 12 maps, or 12 bases. That's a huge change compared to Rune of Ceres, which is 22 bases on the entire map, for example. Mothership Core Poke, a very adventurous Mothership Core Poke. If the Cyclone locks onto that, that should be a free kill, and the Mothership Core will just try to recall, and does manage to recall Huck. Really, you know, living on the edge. Huck is the kind of, you know, those guys that walk onto like a thin line across like 2 buildings. I don't know the name of those people, but Huck is one of those for sure. Cyclone's gonna move across the map, and the lock-on ability is a cooldown of 4 seconds. That's one thing to keep in mind. It does 740 damage over 14 seconds, so it's quite a lot of damage. And Huck's making a lot of Stalkers to defend the Cyclone. Basically, to kill the Cyclone, what you have to do is once it starts locking onto something, you just have to lift it to interrupt it, and that's what Huck's gonna do right here. Naro still gets 1 Stalker for 1 Cyclone, but a Cyclone is worth 150 gas. So it's so much better for Huck to be getting a Cyclone than for Naro to be getting a Stalker. A 3rd command center by Naro. Doesn't have the bunker ready yet, but... And Huck's gonna see the greedy 3rd. He's gonna see more barracks, so he knows it's not mech. And the Robo's being put down at the natural. Huck, afraid of a supply block, goes up to 3 pylons. It's a little bit excessive, but tightrope walker is how you call it. Okay, so after 2 cyclones, Naro is gonna move on and be making a reactor for a starport. One of the cool things about the Phoenix opening is that it forced 3 turrets out of Naro, 1 at the natural and 1 in the main, and 1 in the main mineral line. So those Phoenixes are totally worth it. Plus, they save you the trouble of dealing with the cyclone. So we see an observer by HuK into a warp prism. We don't see a robo bait just yet. Doesn't have the gas. Wants to add more Phoenix to his army composition. Does he even want disruptor right away? That's a question that's worth asking. Might want to just prioritize charge, armor, more Phoenixes. With the warp prism, we could see him drop some zealots inside the main base. It's totally a possible thing. Now, some people out there might be asking, hey, desRow, why doesn't he just drop adepts? They're pretty good at killing workers. Well, not really. You can pull the workers away, and the adept will struggle to catch up. If you could like blink onto the adept psionic image, some people call it a shade, but if you could blink onto it, that'd be cool. That'd be useful, but you can't. So it's a little bit harder to control, or it's a little bit less efficient to control. It's not harder, it's just very inefficient. And HuK's going, like I said, HuK's going for Templar Archive before Disruptors, so we might not even see Disruptors this game. We might just see Charged Blood Archon. Worker count 56 to 50. Keep in mind, a mule is about 4 workers, so we're talking Naro basically is ahead by like 2 workers if we're being very nitpicky. One marine gets picked off, and where's the bio of Naro? Is that all Naro has? No, okay, so he's got this army right here. It's really hard to see sometimes because the colors are so much brighter. How HuK will react to this? The Mothership Core is there to photon overcharge. The Phoenixes are flying back in, but one of them... Oh, and a big warping of Zealot inside the main base. Naro has a small army to defend. Will it be enough? And the drop was unloaded outside of the main. Did he lose one of the Midivacs? I think he might have lost... Yeah, he lost one of the Midivacs to the Phoenixes. And a lot of the Zealots are doing a lot of damage. Worker count 63 to 39. How many workers have been killed? 15 workers have been killed in this assault. Some of the Cyclones are really helping. And turret's gonna go down. And just like that, HuK has made his life so much easier in this game for himself. Upgrades are in Naro's favor for now. So adding an Immortal, adding an Archon, adding some cannons. Also all the 2 observers right here, that must be a mistake. Oh, some of the Phoenixes are going to get picked off. And oh, the double Archon drop by HuK. There's a lot of micro possibility with that. Because of the range pickup. And the Cyclone. Oh, the Cyclone locked onto the Phoenix, and Naro was trying to catch the Warp Prism, doesn't quite get it. No Viking on the way, so this Warp Prism is gonna get to stay alive. 4th base by HuK, probably pressured to keep expanding as his natural mines out, slowly but surely. Also the main's mining out. So much action so far for a 9-minute game. We have a little bit of downtime. Both players are macroing up. We have more barracks for Naro. Oh, never mind. There's a big push here at the 3rd of HuK. HuK a little bit out of position. Is going to cast a time warp. Well, good luck with that. As you can see, the time warp is delayed as the new changes with Legacy of the Void. The Midivac's ready to pick up and leave. A drop inside the main goes for the cannon right away. And a drop inside the main of Naro as well. The Warp Prism's going to get away one more time. And the cannon did so much work here. Oh, the probe transfer! The probe transfer! Oh! All the probes get taken out. 4 survive to tell the story of how the genocide of the probes had to happen. The Archons are going to come back to help, and more Zealots are being warped in. HuK realized those Archons were going to die, so he picks them back up. The Warp Prism is going to get sniped with the 2 Archons inside of it, and Naro is going to back out. HuK, after looking in an unlosable position, is now struggling to get back into this game. Losing the third, losing so many workers. 26 versus 21 has been killed. Cyclone gets a free Archon kill as well. HuK microing something else on the map. Oh, another drop by Naro. Naro's everywhere. Well, apparently not, because he's not moving that drop just yet. And, oh, the first Disruptor misses the Purification Nova charge. Blows it out not efficiently. And there's not a lot of AoE here for HuK. 4 Archons, but they're struggling to get on top of the bio. Hallucinated Colossus. And actually, I might have spoken too soon. The upgrades are 2-2 for HuK versus 1-2 for Naro. And yeah. The third has been untouched this whole time. There's not even a bunker there. If HuK could manage to spare a few Zealots for that, I'm sure that would help. Big load up by Naro. There's no vision on the left side of the map for HuK. There's no Zealot, there's no Panon, there's no Observers. E warps in preemptively, which makes sense. You should always want to have units there, especially after you give a little bit of breathing room to the Terran. You can be sure that he'll want to force you to be somewhere you don't want to be. And so that Archon versus all those Marauders is not going to do too much. There's a Disruptor right here, and HuK's going to move into the third. Oh, the Disruptor kills a lot of workers, but I don't think he needed to kill workers. I think he needed to focus on the bio. Some of the Zealots are going to join, but Mortal Archons and Stalkers are being picked off by the army of Naro. Inside the main base, the Disruptor, Naro's not looking, Naro's looking, and the Disruptor does nothing. So for people that say the Disruptor's too strong, well, if you have Medivacs or... Oh! Whoa! The Disruptor misses his charge. The Nova hits nothing. Archon gets picked off. The drops of Naro are at the third. They doing a little bit of loading and unloading. Fourth is exposed. HuK's gonna warp in. 4 Templars, get some Archons going, but Archons take so long to morph. 9 seconds. Some of those Templars were not morphed and gets picked off. The Archon as well has to deal with so many Marauders. And Naro, probably the nail in the coffin. A big Doom drop inside the main base. HuK sees it with the Disruptor. Cyclone also in the mix. Photon Overcharge runs out of the Nexus in the main. Some of the gates. Naro scans. And HuK still struggling to just defend his fourth. Doesn't realize what's going on inside the main. Or actually he does. He's got a Disruptors and a few Zealots come in to help. Lost a lot of gates already, and the thing is, as soon as this Disruptor joins the battle, he can just pick up and leave, and that's exactly what he's gonna do. HuK gonna attack his own Zealot and Archon. He's gonna unload back in, kill the Archon, and just like that, army supply 77 to 36. Mothership Core is gonna get another Photon Overcharge inside the main base. This might actually help HuK hold. Oh, he should have targeted the Cyclone. But yeah, there's just so much going on, and Naro, with just the economy of a god, is gonna get to produce so much more than HuK. And this is the part where HuK is scratching his head and wondering what kind of adjustments he can make. Keep in mind, every time you're playing on new maps, it's always really good for Terran, because you're not sure yet how much of what you need where. And as we saw, Naro was really good at abusing that, always dropping in different locations, using different routes to get there. And HuK sitting on 2 observers, it was not enough to get all the information he needed. Or maybe they were just in the wrong positions. Either way, Disruptor is gonna get picked off, and a total of 4 Disruptors have died so far this game. And just like that, Naro gonna take game 2, send us to a game 3. Final Disruptor of the game, gonna try to get something done. Does get something done, but too little, too late. As the Zealots of HuK charge towards their death. The Marines do a lot of damage, and there's not enough AoE in this army composition to get rid of them. There's still 2 Cyclones left standing, and GG. HuK taps out. HuK is fucked.